Welcome to Longevity Lifestyle Designers. This is Gavin here with secretsoflongevity.com. Something that's brought up on a continual basis and happened somewhat recently is the idea of ethics and morals when it comes to determining what it is you do with your health, how it is you eat, what it comes down to with your nutrition. So that you probably already guessed what I'm talking about, either from the title or from what I'm saying here, is that the argument that ethics should determine what it is we eat and make the foundation of our choices is a terrible stance to base these things on. Now, philosophy was never my forte. I was interested in it, and one branch of philosophy is the determining of ethics and morals. And if you just read about it on Wikipedia and you have the head for it, I have a drive and attraction to certain types of writing and branches of study, whether it's biology, kinesiology, physiology, but when it comes to things like math, philosophy, these other things, I have a lot of resistance to getting into it. That's just me personally. But if you get into it, you do start to see that ethics is all about thinking and determining and creating and defining the way it is you view the world and how you could improve that to make yourself a better unit in the world to some extent. And even amongst the ethics arguments for these different viewpoints, there's a wide variety of differences. So to try and argue that it's unethical to eat meat is like any other religious debate, or in this case, argument, because you're not going to have a proper religious debate unless you're just debating timelines and facts. You can't debate something that can't be based on facts. And with ethics and morals, they're determined by the individual. There's social norms and social ethics, what we can analyze in society and the world around us, of what a large group of people that you might be a part of, you might be observing, determine. But that in no way means that that's what you have to take on, or that there's any reasons why taking that on is right or wrong for you personally. So, in my opinion, and I've covered it in a video well into the past, this was almost 3 years ago, if you have any interest in seeing me back then, you can see that here. And this is when I was vegetarian and vegan. I forget which I was at that exact time, but I was eating a very strict regimen, and even then I believe that we should base our decisions for that on health, not ethics. And that's because I had the wherewithal to understand that I'm not going to convince certain people of the benefits of eating this way if I'm basing it on just a belief system. It's got to be based on cold hard facts. There's some people who are easily swayed by that, but they're the same types of people who are swayed by religious fear-mongering, all these other things which, again, are not based on intellectual prowess, clear thinking, logic, and these other values which people need to start moving towards in today's world. So by all means, I'm not judging those who choose to be ethical in their view and do something that they think is ethical, whatever that is. But if you're going to be a proponent out there in the world, online, writing books, etc., base your things on facts, not beliefs. So ethics is not a concrete foundation. It's like building a house on quicksand. Same as building something on a religious belief. It doesn't make those things wrong, of course, but it doesn't make for a strong argument. And it's by no means going to hold its weight if you're going up against someone who does have a more intellectual way of thinking about things. And when you're dealing with intellectual subjects like health, which comes down to the nuts and bolts of how things work in the body, you got to step things up. And if you want the respect, at least from me, I don't care what you eat and what you do. If you have the basis of coming at it from a logical standpoint, which is basing on facts, you're going to have a much better time. And if you can show that your argument is based on something that you've looked into, and this is your conclusions based on things that we can then look at and analyze, meaning facts of effects of health, studies on health with different variables, that shows me that you have a clear method of thinking as opposed to one that leans towards whimsical, dogmatic beliefs. So as a vegan, if you have your belief, your ideology, the ideas around your perception of what's the best type of diet to eat is based on health, if you're discussing that with me, and I can see that that's where you're coming from, and you're not coming from a denialist kind of standpoint where you're dismissing arguments that counter yours, and you're actually hearing things out, and you can counter things with really rigid, good, cold, hard data, and you let the data do the fighting, then I'm going to have a lot more respect for you. I'm going to see that you have taken the time to step up your health game. Even if I can pull the rug out from under that stance and I can curb stomp your facts with my facts, that doesn't make me think any less of you as a human being. But if you're out there pushing your beliefs with this rhetoric, or posting videos with like animals being tortured in factory farms and trying to compare that to pasture-raised animal foods and local foods, it's not going to fly. You know what you're doing, and your health game sucks shit. So should ethics play a part in determining your diet? Sure, if you want them to. Should they play a role in those who advocate diet and are outspoken about health? No. It is pathetic for those who try and push that kind of idealism on others. It shows their inability to even think about philosophical terms, because if they had even just read a simple Wikipedia article or looked into what ethics and morals stand for, they know that it's an individual thing. It's like trying to argue your religion against someone else's because your God's more powerful, your God's more benevolent, your God provides better care for the followers, etc. So all other arguments aside about animal food consumption versus plant food predominant diets, that's not the place to discuss that here. This is just about ethics. You know I have other videos out there, and I'll be doing some interesting ones in the near future, going more in depth into the health effects versus the health detriments of animal foods versus plant foods, if we're talking about exclusive diets based on veganism versus omnivorism. So with that, leave a comment below just what your thoughts are. Do you think using the ethical argument is a valid way to conduct any kind of discussion, or even trying to get to the means of an end in terms of finding out the truth around something? And also rate and share the video if you feel so inclined. So with that, take care and embrace life without limits.